welcome back to my channel, beautiful minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I have a little book haul for you. It is on the smaller side, and it is over the course of the last couple of months. I have some books that were sent to me as gifts and a couple that I purchased. I've been trying really hard not to buy books this year in general, and overall I'm doing pretty well with that. I've been much more restrained, but when I did go visit my parents, they took me to this bookshop. And it is one of those bookshops where it's like floor to ceiling, like crammed books in this little tiny space, which is just one of my favorite kind of bookshops because it feels like a treasure hunt. You're just looking through to see what you can find, and every single book in this store was only $2. And so I did walk away with a couple. One of them was Knowing God by J.I. Packer, which I have heard amazing things about. I have never read. This is actually also going to be used in spiritual formation in my daughter's curriculum. I think not this year, but next year. It's in like brand new condition. Looks like it has never even been opened. Like it is in such good condition. And so it felt like something I definitely needed to pick up. It's something that my husband and I both want to read also. So it's kind of serving double duty in it being for school and for us. Another nonfiction I have found, this is one that I had just seen on social media like a few weeks before we went, and I screenshotted it because someone was talking about books that would help you learn about like North and South Korea, and they actually recommended this as kind of a starting history book. So this is a new history of South and North Korea. And I really like the cover also. Like I love the pink, I love the tigers. This is in really good condition as well. I think it's got like a little bit of peeling on the laminate in the back, but there's no highlighting, no broken spine, nothing like that. So I was really excited to find this because it's definitely one that I wanted to pick up sooner rather than later. And the last book that I purchased for myself is he had this section of like old books. And so I found this, and there were some really pretty ones in there, but I was restrained and I put a few of them back that I was like, oh, there's like a really beautiful collection of all of Washington Irving's short stories. And I almost got it, but then I was like, oh, I actually have several of his collections, and I probably have all of those books somewhere else. So I was restrained. But there was this collection of 4 books by Christopher Morley. And if you saw my favorite books of the year last year, or you've just heard some of my recommendation videos, like lighter classic recommendations and stuff like that, you'll have heard me talk about Parnassus on Wheels quite a bit. It was a book that we read in my in-person book club last year and was one of my favorite books of the year. That book is so delightful, so lighthearted and fun, and truly a book for book lovers, as it's about a woman who wants to kind of leave behind her life, and she buys this traveling book cart and goes from town to town selling books, and it's just magnificent. And so this collection does have Parnassus on Wheels in it, and it has The Haunted Bookshop, which is the sequel. Then it has 2 others that I have never heard of, Where the Blue Begins and Thunder on the Left. And this is just like, really felt like such an amazing find. I don't know if there's even a publication date in here or not. There is 1941. So $2 felt like a steal, especially because a lot of Christopher Morley's books are no longer in print. The only ones that I've seen in print are Parnassus on Wheels and The Haunted Bookshop in like a bind up, but I haven't seen the others. So really, really excited about this one. My daughter has really been getting into manga lately, and so a couple of the manga series that she's been reading are ones that I've previously read and recommended to her, like Spy Family and Kuma 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 Bear. And we were going to our library because I had heard that Snow White with the Red Hair was also a good option for younger kids because it's just cleaner. So it's good for young teens. And so I had read volume 1 and I checked out it again and ended up DNFing it because I really didn't like it the first time I read it. And I didn't like it the second time either. But my daughter really, really enjoyed it. And so we went to the library to then get subsequent volumes. And as it would turn out, we're the only people who have checked out this manga, and they bought it like several years ago. And so they were getting rid of all of these. These are volumes 11 through 17. And so they were 10 cents each. So I don't even feel bad. I paid less than $1 for all of these. And after I purchased these, as it turns out, we were the only ones who had checked out volumes 1 through 3. So our library just went ahead and took these out of the system and just gave these to us after we returned them. I now need volumes 4 through 10 for Claire. So then she can be caught up for all these other volumes, but I couldn't pass them up because not only did I get the big stack I showed you, but then since they gave me the other 3 for free, that means that I got all of these for less than $1. So moving on to books that were gifted to me, my dear friend Christy from Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space sent me a couple of books. So one of them is These Are the Generations. So this is a book about a family living in North Korea as Christians and trying to spread the gospel as Christians when it's illegal to be a Christian in North Korea. If you get caught with the Bible or if you get caught being a Christian at all, you actually get sent to forced labor camps. And it's crazy because when you dive into kind of some of the history of North Korea, you'll see how much of kind of the things that they talk about the Kim family and the establishment of their family in like super crazy sounding supernatural ways that actually mirror a lot of the things that are in the Bible, which is why they don't allow people to be Christians, because they might actually think for themselves and put 2 and 2 together and realize that these things were taken from the Bible. So anyways, this is a story of a family. It's really, really short. She really enjoyed it. It's put out by Voice of the Martyrs, which is a publication that focuses on the persecuted church internationally. And so this is one I'm really excited to read. She said she thought Claire would really enjoy it as well. And then since Claire and I have been learning Korean, we have about 2 years of Korean under our belt. We are almost done with level 2 of Talk to Me in Korean's grammar lessons. She sent me this, which is Korean Stories for Language Learners. It does say that it has online audio, so you can listen to it if you want to, but this is really laid out super cool. So you have the story here in Korean, and then you have it here in English. And so you can kind of, if you're getting stuck at all, you can kind of get the gist of the story here if you want, and then it makes it a little easier to follow. The pages after that then have, well, actually, this might be before because it has pre-reading questions, but it has different vocabulary that you're going to find in there, notes on the culture, comprehension questions, just kind of all kinds of different things to help you kind of work your way through it, which is just super cool. So once Christy finished this book, she sent it on to Claire and I so that way we can use it to further study Korean ourselves. My sweet friend Dia from Novel Idea sent me The Lantern of Lost Memories, which I had on my wish list because I read it last year and it was one of my favorite books of the year last year. I really started delving into kind of that cozy, healing Asian fiction the last couple of years, and I just find so much comfort in reading them because they're just really beautiful and they handle tough topics in like really gentle and soothing ways. But this one was my favorite. A lot of them can kind of blur together because there are a lot of similarities in the way that they write things. But this particular book is just incredible. The concept of it is super interesting. So if you've ever heard the phrase when someone talks about a near-death experience or something scary and they say that their whole life flashed before their eyes, this book essentially takes place after someone has died. They go to kind of almost this like this room, this holding room, and there's this lantern that then comes down. It's like here and it will show scenes from their life. And so they're allowed to choose like one picture or clip for every year of their life. And so they're in this room to kind of like sort through and decide what they want to be in that. And so as they're there, you then travel with them because they're able to go back in time and re-experience certain memories. And so it's really, really beautiful, really well done. I feel like it's one of the few Japanese cozy books I've read that it feels like the whole thing is actually kind of cohesive. A lot of times they're very episodic. They might all take place at a similar location and people coming through, and you see different people experience healing or something in this setting, whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a bookstore or, just various things. In this case, all of the stories of these people actually end up intertwining, and that doesn't always happen. So I just really, really enjoyed this one. It's one of my favorites that I've ever read. So after I read it on Kindle, I put it on my wish list, and Dio was really sweet and sent it to me. So I'm really excited to own this one because it is one that I would want to reread. And the final book that I have here is also one kind of thanks to Dia. So Dia just celebrated 4 years on BookTube, and she posted this like roundtable discussion that she did with several of us, with me and Christy and Stephanie and her daughter Melinda. And I'll link that video so you can check it out, because we're all sharing our thoughts on what makes a book or an author like a favorite for us, and just talking about how we connect with books and our similarities or dissimilarities of things that really connect with us. And so while we were talking, my author that I talked about, who is my favorite, is George Eliot. It was really hard. I couldn't really choose just one. I had a list and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with George Eliot because I don't think anyone else is gonna talk about her. And they didn't. So it kind of ended up being perfect because I had crossovers with every single person on that live where I'm like, oh yeah, these are all favorites of mine too. So anyways, I was talking about how much I love George Eliot, and Melinda brought this little book off her shelf, which is The Spanish Gypsy. She's like, oh, I found this really beautiful old book used at a bookstore. And so she was showing it to me and she's like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to read this. I just picked it up because it was really beautiful and I've heard people talk about George Eliot. I'll send it to you. And she did, which was just so sweet. So it's really interesting because this, I had never even heard of it before. It's really, really lovely, but it's actually poetry, the entire thing. So it's really interesting. I had never heard of anyone talk about this one. I didn't even know anything about it. So it was really kind of a special, unexpected surprise, not only to learn about Eliot that I didn't know about, but also for Melinda to send it to me, which is really sweet. So that's my little book haul of me slightly breaking the rules. I don't know if I can even count Snow White with the Red Hair as breaking the rules, because I didn't purchase those for myself. I purchased them for my daughter, and I didn't even really spend hardly any money on them. So I guess I really only purchased 3 books in the entire like second quarter of the year. So I think I'm doing pretty good overall. And I am reading a lot from my shelves, which was my goal, was to read more from my shelves and kind of put pause on purchasing more books and just being more selective with what I bring in. And so I would say I was very selective. I definitely put things back in that bookstore. So anyways, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you've read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have heard of The Spanish Gypsy, I would love to know, because I had never heard of it. So maybe I'm the only one who hasn't heard of it and everyone else knows about it, but I did not know about it. If there are any of these books that you'd like to see me prioritize sooner rather than later because you're intrigued by them, I would love to hear that as well. As well as if you have picked up any great books lately that you're excited about, feel free to tell me about that as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.